Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit about how I flesh these animals in a wheelchair. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world, but it works. I've tried this a number of different ways, and this seems to be the easiest way for me to do it anyway. This is the way I used to do it actually when I could stand, so I've tried this at different angles. Problem is you got to get the wheelchair underneath the board so you can get some kind of pressure on it. Your biggest problem is leverage. When you're sitting down, you have no leverage. That seems to be one of the biggest issues for about everything, leverage, when you're sitting. So if anybody has a better idea, I'd love to hear it. You can do it this way, but it's just not very easy. When I get to the bottom end, I usually pull the animal up and clamp it, because you can't. I used to be able to rest my hip against it and hold the animal in place, but of course I can't do that, so basically you got to clamp one end and go ahead and work on it that way. But you can do it this way. It's very possible. I do it this way. The biggest issue is getting stretched out to the end of your hide. Like I said, you can clamp it eventually. It gives you a little bit of, so you don't have to stretch so far, but so there's not a lot on these red fox, especially these late winter red fox. Just not much on them. It's got to come off, but you got to get it. Get a little bit of that meat around the legs and a little bit of fat down here on the belly. Do that for an hour or so. That's workout. Anyway. And you just keep rolling it around until you get everything you need off. You guys might have noticed my flesh knife only has one handle. Well, let me tell you how that happened. When I was about 14, I broke it. Okay, so I did it for so many years with one handle. I'm so used to it. I have one that does have both handles, but I like the one with either handle. You do something one way for 40 some years, you kind of get used to doing it a certain way, and that's why it only has one handle. But anyway, that's the way I flesh. So Anybody has a better idea, I'd like to hear it. But if you're thinking about it, sit down in a chair and look at it. You realize that a lot of things you think you can do as far as pressure and leverage goes, when you're sitting down, you just don't have it. So anyway, I'm open to suggestions. Okay, you guys might be curious about how I skin from a wheelchair. Well, I gotta have a hoist because obviously I can't stand and move up and down with the animal. So I have a hoist. I pick the animal up and down. And works pretty good. And of course, you have the animal sitting in your lap a lot of the time, but hey, at least you can get it done. So that's what we're doing. But this is here the end of the year now, and we're bagging everything up and sending it to fur harvesters. I got my coons bagged right now. We got a bag of coons, so we're gonna go to work on the fox and coyotes next. So, all right, there's the fox and the coyotes. If you can at all possible, you know, it's always a good idea to separate your coon from your fox in case you get any grease from your coon or whatever. Mix it up on the fox. So either put them in separate bags, or you know, go ahead and if you got enough coon for a bag, you know, fill one bag up with coon, the other bag up with your canines. That way you won't transfer any grease on your fox or your coyotes. So get that done, and said this is their last pickup, so this is it. Everything else has to be gone now, unless you want to keep it till next year, and that's usually not a good idea. It's a good time of year too, also to, you know, clean up your traps and your cable restraints, and your cable restraints also a good idea. Looking at your cable restraints, you can't really tell if they're rusting or not because they rust from the inside out. So what you need to do, I bundle mine in like dozens, and I dip them in mineral oil. Leave them soak in mineral oil overnight. Pull them out. Let them drip off into a bucket. You'll save that mineral oil. You won't hardly use much at all, but it makes that cable just like brand new. Once you get it in that mineral oil, it'll loosen right up, and it gets the spring right back in it. But if you do that at the end of the year and let them sit in that mineral oil for a day or so, and pull them out and let them drip off, they'll be just like brand new cables next year. But it's always a good idea to do that. And you know, we try to do this stuff this time of year because we're not as busy this time of year. You get towards fall and you get real busy. You're into hunting and archery hunting and doing some things, then you're kind of jammed up right before trapping season. But if you get it done now, get your cables taken care of, get your traps taken care of. You can dye them, wax them. We put them in wooden boxes, put them away. That way, come trapping season, we just open the box up and we're ready to go. Hey, the more organized you stay, the easier it is. I mean, that's you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and it's definitely easier to be organized. So it might take a little effort right now, but it's a lot easier to do it now than it is while you're trying archery hunt and do all that other stuff. So anyway, we're shipping off to fur harvesters tomorrow, and we'll see what the market brings. I don't know. It's hard to say what this stuff's going to bring. The last auction, we had some gray fox in that last auction, and they brought, well, they were like, you know, November gray fox. They weren't a real heavy gray, or your semi-heavy gray fox, and they brought like 19 bucks a piece, which wasn't bad. That was the auction, their biggest auction, the one that's in Finland. I didn't get everything ready in time to hit that auction, so anyway, we're going to send the our stuff we caught in the cable restraints and the last bit in the traps. We're going to send that now. So you get a little heavier gray fox and a little heavier red fox, and that, you know, they're caught the January fox, or a little nicer fox. So we'll see how they do. And in the coon, a friend of mine, he averaged like around 8 bucks a piece on his coon. Now this is coon from Pennsylvania. If you get coon from, you know, the upper Midwest, you get a lot bigger coon. We're talking about 2X coon. You're 32-inch coon, you know. That's what they generally went for. Now he did get, I think the coon is his that he did the best with. I think he had went somewhere around $20, but it was a really nice coon, a really big coon. I'm talking about average. You can't go by that. You know, they post those, you know, well, this is what our best coon did. Well, you can't go by that because their best coon, you may not even have one like that, you know, but I'm talking about Western Pennsylvania fur. This is the way we, you know, that's the way you look at your average. You know, they're about $8 on coon. Gray fox around 18, 19 bucks a piece. I think his reds, I think he said he did, I didn't have a red in that sale, so I'm thinking they were a little less than the grays. I think they were like 11, 12 bucks a piece. But in the coyotes, the best coyote he had, he said did 33, but the average is, you know, about 11 bucks. That's how the coyotes went. You know, they weren't, our coyotes this year, they weren't real. Some were kind of rubbed, I don't know, kind of ticky, I guess. They just didn't. They weren't a real good quality coyote from this area anyway. So, but we got some decent ones. So we'll see how they do in the next auction. So anyway, that's about it for 2018. We're getting her wrapped up and put away. And hey, we only got like 8 months to wait. So hey, see you guys next year. Thanks for watching.